Did anybody tell you? Well, nobody didn't tell me. Okay, and then she'd be there, and like I'm stubborn. If I don't get invited, I ain't gone.
That's right.
Uh, um, and then I got a call from John Ringo and the mayor's office that they would like me to be there, and then I'm needed and stuff. But again, I state that you got to go back to go forward. You got to know the history to get to the future.
Yeah.
And a lot of our kids and a lot of our young adults and stuff, 50 years old and under, don't even know really the history of how did we get here.
Not of this city, right? And it was something when you talk about history, Clifford Brown Fest is the largest free jazz concert on the East Coast. But a lot of our kids don't even know that he lived right there on the East Side.
Well, and you're right. It was Clifford Brown. It was Flowers. Mays, who played ball. Played ball for years. It was a whole lot of folks that Gary Heyman, his brothers who played for Houston, Buffalo. Yeah. It was I can't think of his name now. He was a policeman who played for the Phillies. It was basketball players there. It was a semi-pro here, baseball. It was the Bombers was a basketball team and stuff.
Because I remember they brought those back a few years ago. They tried to bring them back. Had a semi-pro team named after the Bombers, but they thought it was a new team. They don't understand it was the resurrection of an old team.
Right, and it was so much going on. It was respect. Yesterday I was in Philadelphia, and they were signing up for the Cool Walk, the Cool Run. So I signed up because I'm going to start walking and running and getting back in that. So the lady was telling me where how it started. It said it started in India. I said, I ain't trying to be prejudiced, but I don't want to hear Indian. I said, when we going to do United States?
Right.
I said, black folks and white folks and Polish, whoever, years ago we did United States, and we disagreed, we fought, they burned cross, they did everything, but what we did was learn how to respect each other. And when we start integrating schools and stuff and running track, and they really kind of broke Howard down because they start spreading the black players all around stuff.
Don't even talk about that. I was telling somebody earlier that my last year of high school was the first year at DSAG, and I still have an attitude because when we all got busted, a lot of our players went to Concord. I happened to go to Glasgow. We had people at Dickinson, Stink, and all them guys, and Mount Pleasant. And Concord won the state championship that year. And I'm still mad because that was our team, but they broke us up. They tore it apart, yeah.
And it was times with myself, Wellen Bell, Jimmy Johnson, James Johnson, and all the guys got together, and we used to go to the swimming pool. We used to go to the Y all the time.
Yeah.
And we always stayed in the pool a lot. And we went down to bowling alley, we bowled for 10 cents a game, and we put the pins up, and we slept there overnight. And Mr. Pollock was basically in the restaurant, and he made sure we ate and everything. And and then from there we went to a circus. We had our own black circus up the YMCA where the Cephas brothers was doing the rings and trampoline, all that, and we had clowns and stuff. And the most important thing, we became good swimmers. And one thing Llewellyn Bell was doing, he came from the YMCA, Crucis Pool to the YMCA, and he was a good diver along with Jimmy Johnson, myself, Thurman Brown, all us. And he began to do platform diving in Price's Run in the deep part of it. And it was like 3 stories high, whatever, and he would do half gainers, 2.5, gainer half with a twist and all that. And the YMCA got us together and taught us how to be lifeguards and stuff. We all passed the class.
Right.
And frozen with clothes on, and we couldn't come up to. We made airbags out of
Yeah,
clothes
pants,
and
yeah, I
stuff.
learned that in the service.
Yeah, and then we became. I swam the mile. We became the mile, 220, 100 yards and stuff. And then Howard came to us, and we all was in Bancroft School. Howard came to Jimmy Oz, and they asked us to swim for the high school because Howard didn't have a swim team.
Okay.
And we got the best experience of our life. We got to go to the Washington Street Y, which was white. We got to go to the different white schools and stuff who had swimming pools.
Right.
And we went all around swimming for Howard High School. And Lowell and Bell could have made the Olympics, but it was a thing that they wasn't including.
Right.
Then it was a part that Lamar Allen and them played ping pong real good. I mean, we was good at it.
Yeah, you talk about ping pong. I mean, that's something I learned at the Browns Boys and Girls Club, you know. And I just think back how you talking about swimming, ping pong, pool. All these things taught us a lot of valuable lessons in life. And a lot of that stuff it's not around anymore.
I know. And we wound up out Fork Road and out Marsh Road and stuff at the YMC camp, and for championship. And the Chinese came in, and they used to turn the paddle around,
Yeah.
and they used to use the paddle backwards.
Yeah.
And we know Jimmy won. I think Jimmy or Lamont won. One of them won, but we gave them to be these little kids with not good clothes, need haircuts sometimes, talk broken English and stuff like I did. We gave them a run for the money, and then from there it was track. You know, we had some of the best track people in around. Ernie Thompson and Paige Foster and Tiny Redden's brother and all that. Those guys could run. They could run. They could hurdle. They could high jump. And we didn't have the best. And the basketball court that Howard had and Bancroft, it was a multi-purpose. Howard was a stage and a gym. Bancroft really was a gym that when it rained or got cold, we had lunchtime dances and stuff.
Yeah, I remember the 99-cent dances at PS in the Matchbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, we had good times back then. And we're talking about how it used to be, whatever. How do we get our young people to understand that it's okay to have fun without the stuff that's going on now? Well, we had 105 shootings. They shooting at correction officers, probation officers.
It's basically a mental ill concept. I tried to get Jay and them to look at something a little different, okay? I tried to get Jay to look at two things that happened to us with busing. One was the white teachers came along and they closed up the schools in Wilmington, and they wasn't used to urban kids.
Right, they didn't know how, and I can tell you firsthand, I dealt with it at Glasgow. You know, they had this perception that everybody from the city was bad, thugs, uneducated.
Same way they got today.
Yeah.
And what they did, they found that the black teachers in the city of Wilmington were making more money. So the black teachers had to take a freeze while they came up. The other thing, they found that they couldn't relate to the black kids, and the black kids couldn't relate to them. So they came up with this drug therapy, whatever it is.
Yeah, really, and all
and
that
they
stuff,
and the federal government was a part of that with the state of Delaware. And they say, well, your kid's ADA, and your kid's bipolar, and your kids can't stay still, and they won't stay still in the room and stuff like that. So we need you to take this medicine. So a lot of time they couldn't get parents to take the medicine, and they began to, I call it a bribe. They said, well, you can get an SSI check.
Right, they consider disability.
And you'll get check every month. When you tell poor people that there's a check that you can get, and they either on food stamps or welfare, or the ones at the time was working, you know, there was a challenge to get their kids clothes and stuff. So So they start giving these drugs and stuff. Well, at the time when they were giving the kids drugs, the mother still was smoking Vietnam and Cambo and marijuana. It still was. It wasn't cocaine in the community, but it was heroin in the community. It was liquor in the community. It was a lot of things in the community. So you had your first generation. And once you got your first generation, a lot of them either couldn't follow up on continue getting the drug, or a lot of them got the drugs because they wanted the money, so they continue on the drug. So when they went and met their mate, and they had sex, then another generation came. And nobody wasn't doing nothing about it. And Dr. Arthur Williams once told the NAACP National, said you can tell when a child got trouble, look at the eyes. Say if the eyes drop or something wrong with the eyes, you need to be dealing with this kid, because this kid is potential got problems and stuff. And the NAACP adopted the concept. They didn't go no place, but they did throughout the United States adopt the concept. Then you got another generation, because you have 4 years deseg.
Yeah.
So they had kids, and those kids went on pills, and they started hitting the marijuana. They started doing little things and stuff, and the teachers wasn't paying no mind. They were suspending them. They came up with homeschool learning. They came up with the police. What's that bill? 69, where if you threaten somebody and or you look at the teacher wrong, you got locked up right on the premise, and the superintendent, nobody could do nothing about it.
Yeah, and I mean I witnessed it personally. You know, some of it I didn't agree with, but it made it bad for our kids, man. You know, you have a small infraction, and the cops are in the school handcuffing you. You know, what is that teaching that child?
It was wrong.
Yeah, it was wrong.
And then the concept of generations of kids, we got a mentally, for the last 10 years or more, we have mentally depressed kids. We had kids that was on legalized drugs because of the state and the federal government. And a lot of people say now, well, they selling drugs. Nah, all of them ain't selling drugs. Well, they are fighting because they don't like, yeah, some of them fighting because they don't like each other. I had a white guy come up to me and a black guy up on 3rd Street 10 years ago. And I parked someplace, and he wanted my spot. So he told me what he was going to do to me, both of them, black and white. I said, you ain't doing nothing to me. You got the wrong one.
Yeah.
I asked him, I said, are your insurance paid? Because my insurance is paid up. So when it come time, my wife going to make out all right. Are you going to make out all right? I had to back him off, because when they didn't get the drugs, then when I realized, come up to now, Deborah Henson, I had to go down to stop school. And they had a kid there that was he was off it, you know what I mean? And what they used to do every morning, they used to sit him next to the fish tank and let him count the fish all day.
Let me tell you something. We had one time, Mr. Brown was livid. We had a child everybody was afraid of. I ain't gonna say his name because everybody would know who I'm talking about. But so what they did, they said, well, we're gonna put him in the higher classes, and maybe that'll make him be quiet. Didn't work. So what they did is told him, when you come to school, you hang out with the janitors all day, just to keep him out of the classroom.
That's what they used to do.
Yo, Mr. Brown was livid. Like, you're not teaching him that. He's going to be in the classroom, and you're going to educate him.
That's what they did. So as a kid did that, Devin called me and said, Mouse, we got to go down and stop school. Say, this parents complaining. So we got to the meeting. So the principal, which was a young black lady, said, we can't handle him. Say, he's wired up when he come here Monday morning.
Did anybody, because I was an interventionist, did anybody even try to look at some of the things they could have done?
But let's get to that. So he said, I want you to see something. He asked the young man to go outside. and we talked to the parents. I get to the details because it's pretty deep what me and Devin and I found out. And next thing we did, watch the kid try to go up the wall, jump on the chairs. He was whack, you know what I mean? So we asked, was he taking medicine? And the teacher said yes. His parents bring him medicine 5 days a week. And we give it to him. He was done, you know what I mean? The brother, the medicine took effect on the brother.
Yeah, I know they zoned out.
He zoned out and everything. He was like a zombie once he took that medicine. And they said the problem is he come back Monday morning. So Devin and I got our heads together, and we asked the lady, say, did you give him medicine on Friday? She said, oh, no, I don't. I thought sure it was only for school. We do it 5 days a week. And we don't give it to him. And then see, what did the doctor say? He got to take the medicine for life.
And you know what's crazy? I never understood it. We had some, I mean, they've changed a little bit of the philosophies, but a lot of doctors would say, well, during the summer, they don't want the kids taking the medicine. You know what I mean? Because it builds up a bigger immune system. So now you got to keep administering more and more and more the drug. You know what I mean?
So
then you got to switch it.
We finally got the mother to give him the medicine on Friday and Saturday. Hey, we never heard another problem out of him because he was controlled. And what most doctors are going to say a lot of things, okay? But I believe in doctors. They have saved my life. They did a lot of things for me. But even with myself and Dr. Sinyoki, I had this much medicine, and myself and Dr. Sinyoki, with me paying attention, Doc cut it down to Lorbeer pills.
Right.
Okay, because I wasn't going to put all that stuff in my system.
Yeah.
And that guy never did. That young boy, I don't know how he's doing right now, but he was trapped for life. I call it trapped for life. I call it once you on that stuff, trapped for life. And my nephew, same way. He was troubled, but soon as they gave him medicine, he went to William Penn, and he became one of the best defense backs out there and stuff. And now he's from truck to this job to that job, and he's ADA.
But the thing is, I mean, people always talk about ADD, ADHD, and all that. There's ways that kids can learn how to focus. I talked to a neurologist one day, and he said one of the issues that we have is that the kids today, everything is like this. If you look at the video games, you look at the cartoons, look at the television, bright lights, sound. He said, but everything is snap.
They melt, and a lot of them. I ain't saying all. I ain't talking about folks' kids. I'm talking about what they did to the black child in our community, and some poor white kids, okay, and some Spanish. They are mentally depressed. They are mentally out of it, okay? And a lot of folks say, why are these kids shooting away? Well, if you mentally depressed and you ain't stabilized and you paranoid, mentally depressed, and you paranoid, next thing somebody walk up to you and you got a gun or whatever, and they say something to you, you are shooting them.
Yeah.
We got to deal with the mental part of our kids. But I ain't talking about only our kids. I'm talking about the ones who go to school, the preschool, and I'm talking about the parents too, because the parents is the same way.
And people don't understand that's trauma. You know, they did CDC did a report on Wilmington. Everybody knows what's going on, but people don't understand when there's a trauma. Not only does it affect that person, it affects that person's family. It affects that people around them, and indirectly, it affects the people that seen it. It affects the people that hear about it. Because right now in Wilmington, everybody got this thing that, man, we up to 105 shooting, Wilmington's bad and it's off the hook. You know, does it affect some people? Yeah, indirectly, but the reality is, man, it's only a few people out there.
But the concept is this. Everybody who's saying that live in Wilmington.
Yeah.
Those who ain't saying that who live in the county, maybe Dunleavy, Rosegate, Newark, whatever, it's coming their way.
Yeah.
Because it's a concept of being medicine and drugs. More drugs, more drugs, more medicine, more drugs. And if you live in Wilmington and you know the section is on Pond Street,
7th
25th
and Washington.
Pond, 7th and Washington, Reed Street, 2 Up Street, Riverside, 8th and Pond,
Off Maryland Avenue.
10th and Pond, Maryland Avenue. You know all the spots. Well, those spots is basically poor folks who've been taken advantage of over the year. And Democrat or Republican,
Right.
they have never gave the black community their due.
Yeah.
They have never put funds in the black community to really deal with our problems and stuff.
Right, you know, and I tell people a lot of it, you know, they talk about education, but education is outside the classroom also. You know, we have people who make some money, you know, some people above the poverty level, whatever, but they don't know how to manage money. So there's always going to be back into these same...
And that's the concept of the white community. When I came up, we was on the corner hanging out, singing, and playing sports and fighting each other, and 13th Street Stomper against Mountain Dew, and Mountain Dew against Third and Poplar, and Third Poplar against the Hornets and all that. But guess what the white kids were doing? The accountant was coming in, teach a class. The contractor was sitting there teaching business. The math teacher was teaching them math. The English teacher was sitting there teaching them how to pronounce the words and get the words right. The other teacher was grooming them how to put the khakis on, the nice
you know, something like that.
Yeah.
And those concepts I learned at PS in Harlan and Burnett, Warner, you know, Brown's Boys and Girls Club. I learned those concepts there. The kids today don't get that.
Well, and they can't get it, because when you take a Christianity community center, you take a YMCA and L Trot, you take a People's Settlement, you take all of that, you take a Zion Lutheran where Jay is today, you take a Kingswood community center, both Kingswood and Riverside, and Kingswood 9, we used to call it, down on Claymount Street.
Yeah, where the original, a lot of people don't even know where the original Kingswood is at.
When you take a Southbridge neighborhood house, we couldn't go to West End.
Right.
When you take a Brown Boys Club and you close another boys club because the
Jackson
neighborhood
Street,
came black, and you close a pool because the white folks didn't want black folks to come down the pool. It's a little pipe that's broken, but they just thought, they'd say, well, we don't want them to come down. Well, if we want to come down, we're going to buy your neighborhood pretty soon. Now we're buying the neighborhood. We're buying the houses and stuff. When you take all that and you defund these programs, Girl Inc., and when you defund these programs and you keep raising taxes and you keep raising water bills and you ain't putting nothing back in the community, and not even with the seniors, you cut all the senior programs and you take Wilmington senior place on 18th Market was getting all the funds, and you stop getting them funds, and you take all the money out. Cause believe it or not, I may like you, and you may like me, or I may hate this person, and that person may hate me, but the buck stop problems. And then when you do have problems, you take all the money and you give to the police department for overtime. Nothing comes to the community. Kingswood closed, People's Settlements closed. This person ain't got the money. They can't deal with kids. They went to daycare. They cut the daycares and stuff, and the black kids can't go to get the train and stuff they need and stuff. We have a crisis, man.
And you know what's funny? You talk about cutting funding, and I argue this a lot, how you get a group of people that call themselves, I'm not saying that they're wrong for it, they want to give back. So they say, you know what, I want to give back, I want a program doing this. But they don't talk to the grassroots people to see what's needed. They say, we just want to do this program. And what happens with a lot of organizations, they run after the money because they need the funding, but the program is really not beneficial to the people that we're serving.
And our leadership, where the Dutch Burtons, the Reverend Herons, the Senator Holloway, the Representative Oliver, all them and more, Henry Johnson, all them, they was heroes in the community as legislators. May have been the Senate, the House, county, or city council.
But you got to realize, I mean, even at PS, Wilmington School District, civics were taught in the school. We as a high school student, understood government. I knew how government worked. We was proud of that. We knew how local government worked. Once that's removed from school, we have a generation of kids who don't understand how bills process, resolutions, and all that stuff.
Because we send people to office who don't report back to us. We send people to office who become a star and they become bigger than us. The white people send people to representatives of office who respect them and come back to them and listen to them. But our representatives and stuff make up their own ideas and what's good for the community, what's good for the community. What's good for Simons Garden ain't good for Rosegate.
And that's
what's
the truth.
Good for Rosegate ain't good for Dunleavy.
Right.
What's good for Dunleavy ain't good for Southbridge. What's good for Southbridge ain't good for the East Side. What's good for Northeast ain't good for the Hilltop.
Right.
Okay? And every person, every councilman, every state rep and stuff need to hit the doors, knock on doors, talk to the people. If they get cussed out or they get whatever, they gonna get respected sooner or later. And that's why I like Ampy. Yeah. When I seen Ampy Oliver, Councilman Oliver, going around knocking those doors, you know what I say? She get it.
Like what I don't see happening, the midterms are coming up, and we don't see our community grooming people. We don't see our community looking at a person like, this person intelligent, smart. Let's groom them for that position.
Because the white folks do a lot of crooked stuff in redistricting and all that, gerrymandering and all that. Yeah. But you know what they do? They groom. If you watch the Democrat Party,
they groom the people.
Eric Schrammer was groomed to take his place. Yeah. Okay. And I was gonna run for chairman of the Democrat Party, right? It would have been me, the young lady running now, and Marshall, and it would have been Kelly, because Kelly pulls the real slimy stuff on on Stephanie and us. He was not nice to us whatsoever, and he did so many bad things in those close meetings. He reminded me of the Kelly who's been doing it for years.
Right.
Okay, he disrespect us, he disrespect the black community, and he said he wanted to get young folks in. He blamed Gene Young. I went to Gene, and Gene said, no, I just told my folks to run, to get committee seats and stuff. That was my mission. And
you know what? I'm glad you said that. A lot of times, do we really understand how important being on committees, the value in that, to have a voice? Because we can sit back and complain all day, because a lot of things are taken care of in committee, but we're not on the committees to even talk about this stuff.
You're right, and I refused to run against her. I had at least 48 people wanting to vote for me, but she was young, she was outspoken, she wasn't scared of nobody, and if I had ran, she had ran, Kelly would have been in. Right. So I took my name out of the race.
Sound like the city of Wilmington.
Yeah, and let her have it.
Yeah.
And didn't disrespect her. The night before a couple of days before I introduced her, I didn't put no pressure on her. Right. But you know what? That couldn't happen.
Right.
Okay, that couldn't happen with me. And I never play a spoiler or a person to give something away that really, if the person don't benefit our community. Right. Now, getting into these committees and stuff, one thing, the city of Wilmington have all kinds of committees. They have a committee for park and recreation, our advisory committee. They have an advisory committee for public works. They have an advisory committee for public safety. They have the county got advisory committees, zoning committees, this committee, parking authority committees and stuff. And we as blacks are not taking advantage of that. As a matter of fact, we don't know that. You're right. city council have their committee meeting, and then two things they do. They go to the special committee, the committee they got,
Right.
and then they go to what you call the planning committee, and between those two, they go up and they say, this is the way we're going to support it and stuff. Well, a lot of folks don't know that the process started long before a bill approached
Right, exactly.
the first reading of the bill.
Long before that. You know, people sit around, they make decisions, they talk, whatever. Like even within the city of Wilmington, we see all this new construction, we see all these development plans happen. This stuff was put into work a long time ago. It's something that just somebody didn't wake up yesterday and say, let's do this.
And, you know, as we talk about construction and stuff, I got Vice President Joe Biden's book, and before I go talk to anybody, I researched the things I wanted to research, and I have researched some things he say, and I have put yellow and orange around him. And then I got this book, A Troublemaker Handbook. And the Troublemaker Handbook, to fight and win at work and stuff.
Right.
I read all that, especially when I got problems. I go read this and say, I'm going to fight him this way, I'm going to fight him that way. And the concept is that when we basically look at ourselves, we need to be educated.
Yeah.
Every day you wake up,
Every
day you wake up, if God don't give you something or teach you something or show you something different or positive, you know what you're doing? You waste your time and time on this earth. Because if I can't learn something every morning, every day, 3 times a day, talking to people, debating with people, getting on people's case, people getting on my case, people saying you're negative, people saying you're positive, I don't want to live.
You know,
I don't need to live because God put each of us on earth to stay in our lane and to understand our purpose on this earth.
And I'm glad you said that. You know, a lot of people, they're afraid to step out because they're afraid of a mistake. You know what? We learn from our mistakes. You know, other people learn from our mistakes. And sometimes it's not really a mistake, it's a misunderstanding of the process. And then guess what? It strengthens us so the next time we're faced with something, we have a better way of dealing with it.
Well, and the better way in jobs and stuff. How do we get trained by the skilled unions and stuff?
Man, they're trying to destroy unions.
How do we take 8% of the library, which it took me a year to tell J3, a mind is a hell of a thing to lose.
Yeah.
A mind is a hell of a thing to lose. The black community had never had a library built for themselves. They always had a secondhand library someplace with secondhand books, same way that we had in school. That if we're going to get to our generation, we got to try something new.
Yeah, we got new technology. We got to keep up with the technology. You know, the one thing I love about this big STEM initiative, it presents a problem and it tells you detailed steps how to solve the problem. You know, everybody just look at this STEM program, science, technology, engineering, and math is some new phase, but it's something that we've always had it. You know, in school we were always taught, you know, we was taught conflict resolution, problem solving, and all that. We were taught all these things. It was removed for what reason, I don't know. That's not for me to judge.
Y'all was taught that, but we wasn't. You know, we was based on, when I went to school, light skin, dark skin.
Right.
Clean, dirty. Hungry, not hungry. Troublemaker, not troublemaker. Okay? And once you got labeled, you were done. It took me, you know, I'm a long ways from an angel. I did a lot of stuff in my life. And I don't care about putting it out there because I served whatever I had to serve. I paid for whatever I had to pay for. But once you lose your reputation, once you lose your respect, once you lose your credibility, it takes 27 years to get it back. It took me 27 years and almost $100 or more $1,000 of my money, losing a wife, losing a family, losing everything to get respect back and credibility. Because what I told my mom before she died, and what I tell everybody, the only thing I want out of life is when I died, this guy helped the poor, fed the hungry, dealt with the jail, and very respectful.
Right.
And credibility when I say something and truth. That's the only thing I want. Nothing else, money and stuff don't mean nothing to me. It's the credibility of having poor blacks or people in trouble or poor whites or whatever talking to them, and you know the direction to take them, and you know the right direction. You don't have to lie to them. You can point them the right direction and stuff. You can walk with them to take them to get things solved. You can help them get a job. You can help them get something to eat. You can help them fix their roof. Arthur Scott, when he first ran for office, he did out of the norm that most politicians did for councilmen. He painted houses. He fixed roofs. He got payments done. He brought food in. He did everything to tell folks, I am a part of you, I respect you. Because he dealt with the poor, like the Bible says. He dealt with the underdog
Matthew
and
25,
stuff like that. Our leadership wanted to leave the underdog there. We were, before we deal with the underdog, we were going to tear a neighborhood down or make a condemned neighborhood all messed up. And then next thing we know, all people down 40 or in Maryland, New Jersey, where they're born and raised here. That's a problem. Our leadership can't be Pharaoh and God. Pharaoh and Moses can't be like that. Our leadership got to be that we put them in office and they come back and they teach us and educate us. And if they got to do some classes or have some training in our community, they need to train. And when I talk about leadership, not only politics, I'm talking about school teachers, I'm talking about folks in community centers, I'm talking about folks take our money in the stores and stuff and don't respect us, call our name. I'm talking about men who treat their women bad. I'm talking about men who want to buy this and buy that off females, knowing that they help us and stuff. I'm talking about guys who can get the help they need from drugs and stuff, and when they get beds and stuff, they only get 20 beds or 10 beds, and we got 2,000 people that need drug help and all that.
And I'm glad, talking about people with addictions and stuff, not really a lot of people know, but the one thing, and I've helped a couple people out, is that I have a place that I call in Florida, and there's a place right here in Delaware, it's downstate. But anytime I call, they always accommodate me, and I love it because when somebody can come to me and say, "Yo, I need help," and you can help them, that's the greatest feeling in the world.
And guess what? God had blessed me so much that Reverend Daniels, old King Baptist Church, along with Reverend Bullock, that's why I stick with him, and gave me a resource up to New York on Clinton Street. That I sent my daughter up there, and she spent 2 years getting clean and stuff. She didn't want to come back till she was clean. And other people gave me resources. I could call real estate people up or rent people. I could challenge them. I could 7-Eleven, who had the shooting and stuff. The corporation didn't want to close their stores, close the store, and we family fought till we got the corporation to say, troubled stores now in troubled neighborhoods of 7-Eleven and Wawa will close at 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock. They would no more stay open, putting people's life in jeopardy, have drug selling, have stealing, have robbery stuff, no more. I was blessed to solve those problems and stuff. And even with the prison, I was blessed to start picking, saying, how can you pay a person to stay and work with prisoners and dangerous prisoners? I ain't gonna sugar the coat. They didn't go there we got 2% probably there They have no business being there.
Right.
But a lot of them went there because they were dangerous.
They did it.
They did it and they were dangerous. How can we turn around and say that a prisoner at the time when my family and stuff went there made $23 an hour. 10 years later, $34,000. When New Jersey, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, and Maryland is starting off with $50,000, $60,000 a year
Right.
on these guys. How can a officer come in and have to work overtime? 90% is their overtime.
Right.
And then they got to go in Section 8. They can't feed themselves. They got to borrow money because they ain't making enough money
They got
to
enough
deal
pressure.
with their families and stuff.
Well, Mouse, you got 2 minutes.
We had good conversation.
Yeah,
man.
we did, man. You got 2 minutes, man.
Well,
What you want to tell the world?
I want to tell the world that it's time for black folks to step up. We got money going out to unions. You need to understand unions and stuff. You need to call union folks in. Union folks need to teach our community what the purpose of union is. Education, we got education problems on special ed and all that. On defunding the schools. We got a prison problem, which the prisons need to be treated right, and the officers really need to be treated right. We got a robbery problem. We got a mental problem in our community. We got a lot of problems. It's time to stand with God, stand up and be something, and stand up and be what God put you on this earth, and begin to fight for the people who can't fight for their truck, their self.
Hey.
That's what I got to say.
Good. And I got to say first, before I close, I want to give a shout out to Vash Turner and Cooley.
We need to bring him on the show.
We gonna get him. I am so proud of those guys. A lot of people know I coached for a long time in this city, and I coached Vash and been around Cooley for years. And in fact, when Cooley graduated from Lincoln, I ran into him on 9th Street. I held up traffic to give him a hug because I was so proud of this kid that everybody had wrote him off, that he got his degree. Now the fact that he's giving back to his community, he had his own, he got his camp now. You know what I mean? He's been doing a lot of wonderful things, and Vash, you that dude right now, man. So keep it going, because what you're doing, you're inspiring our youth. So I say all to say is, we have to be accountable for ourselves. We got to stop looking at other people, stop blaming other people. Cooley, you seen a need in your little on the east side, and you took care of it. Vash, you taking care of it.
But let me say this: Bash, Cooley, Eugene Young, Marshall, who just got the office, Councilman Albert, all of them. This door is open.
Right.
Anybody that's doing positive stuff, and we can see it with the community, this stage is open for them.
That's right.
Because we need them here.
That's right. So the midterms is coming up. Let's get ready. Get
we
some
gonna
people
get
out
into
there in
that
the
too.
run. See you in 2 weeks. Peace.
Whoa, push on through. Whoa.